Welcome to lesson 9A.3, Saber versus Conocer. So there are two verbs in Spanish that mean the same thing. This is similar to a ser and estar situation. However, these two verbs are saber and conocer. Both of these verbs mean to know. And it's important that we remember their conjugations, primarily the present tense conjugations, but these rules would apply for any tense. Saber had an irregular yo form, so the conjugations looked like sé, sabes, sabe, sabemos, sabéis, saben. Now, saber is the version of to know when you're talking about facts or information. I know that 2 plus 2 is 4. I know that the square root of 64 is 8. I know that your birthday is May 24th, 2001. Those are all facts or tidbits of information. Saber can also be used with a verb following it in the infinitive form, and that's to express that you know how to do something. I know how to cook. I know how to play football. I know how to play chess. I know how to build a birdhouse. If you know how to do something and there's a verb following saber, or a verb following the blank, more than likely your verb is saber because it's a skill set. You know how to do something. On the other side of the equation here, we have conocer. Conocer is also a yo irregular verb, so knowing the conjugations is important. Conozco, conoces, conoce, conocemos, conocéis, conocen. Conocer likewise means to know, but we use conocer in situations when we're trying to express that we know a person, when we know people, or to express familiarity with a location. If you know the city of Decula really well, that's conocer. If you know the city of Chicago really well, that's conocer. If you know the southwestern region of Portugal, that's conocer. So, to express familiarity or to know a person. The other use of conocer is pretty specific, and it's dealing with expertise. I've written down area of study here, but really this is when you have such an intense familiarity with this area of study or subject, such as history, or a language, or literature, or a time period of art. If you are an expert, and it's not just that you know Picasso painted Guernica, but you are really familiar with Picasso, the different periods that he went through, the different characteristics that are seen in his artwork, if you know his biography, if you know the influences that are seen in his artwork, if you have an overarching knowledge of Picasso, well, that's an expertise. And so you could say, I know the artwork of Picasso, and use conocer. So let's look at some of these uses side by side. Yo sé la dirección a la casa de Andrea. That's information. You know an address. Tú sabes el español. You know Spanish. You're not an expert, but you know a little bit about the language. Ellos saben la fecha de cumpleaños de mi papá. They know information. They know a fact about my dad, and that's his birthday. Nosotros sabemos las respuestas. Information. We know the answers. Yo sé que 24 menos 10 es 14. You know facts. You know that 24 minus 10 is 14. Ella sabe cocinar. Mariana y yo sabemos jugar fútbol. These are the skill sets. She knows how to cook. We know how to play soccer. And again, those are followed by verbs in the infinitive. On the conocer side, which is people, places, or expertise, tú conoces bien la ciudad de Atlanta. You are really familiar with the city of Atlanta, which is a place. Mi familia conoce al presidente. My family knows the president, a person. Yo no conozco a tu hermano. I don't know your brother, but because your brother's a person, I still use conocer. Mi papá conoce Perú. My father is familiar with a country, Peru. La profesora conoce la literatura clásica. The professor has an expertise, and that's in classical literature. So that is an area of study, and the professor is very proficient in it, so we use conocer. Yo conozco el arte precolombiano. I have an area of expertise in pre-Columbian art. It's an area of study, and I have great familiarity with it, so I can put it down as an expertise and use conocer. Nosotros conocemos la cultura inca. We have studied the Incan culture. We know a lot about the history, we know a lot about the art, the cuisine, the regions of influence, and what happened to the Incan culture across time. That's an expertise or an area of study, and so we use conocer. Now it's time for you to show us what you've learned. See you in class.